Sure everything is working just fine. Make sure the mic isn't muted. Alright, camera's rolling. I think the audio is live. I think we're good. Okay, yeah, alright. Looks like we're good to go. Okay. This is gonna be a review for Star Wars Pro Jedi, which is what I've been calling Jedi Survivor. That's about the first time this year I think I've called it by its proper name. I've been calling it Pro Jedi this whole time. If anybody wants to know why I've been calling it that, I can explain it to you if you just ask me. For those who want to know, but for all intents and purposes, I'm just going to be calling it Pro Jedi because that's what I've been calling it for months now. So this, of course, I don't script any of my videos. I'm going to make this known, right? Every time I review something or talk about something, I don't script anything. I just usually start speaking, and I just carry on from tangents there, and that's about how I roll. Like, that's usually what I do. I did that for the Bloodborne DLC. I did that for, about 3 years ago when I was talking about my thoughts on Battlefront 2 and how it actually wasn't that good. Like, you can make something better, but essentially they just made a bad thing less bad, just didn't inherently make it good. But yeah, now before I get into like reviewing this whole game, I want to make something known, right? For full context, I played this game on the max difficulty, on the Grandmaster's difficulty, right? I went in, and that's how I chose to play it from the very beginning. And I gotta say, I don't know if it was a bad decision. I don't know how good of a decision it was, but for that reason, and I don't know if it's that reason, I don't know if changing the difficulty would have affected it that much, but my total playtime was about 56 hours. To getting 100% completion. I just 100%ed the game about 2 hours ago, and I did everything. Like, I went ahead and made sure all the planets, all the collectibles, and data scans are all done, and everything, right? So, all that is taken care of. Because I wanted to leave no stone unturned before I talk about this game, which I could have by the time I finished the story, because my thoughts haven't changed that much. Anyways. And, yeah, my thoughts have not changed too much since I beat... Oh, shit. Monday. And it's Friday today. Yeah. Essentially yesterday, I woke up and I decided, I'm just gonna go right for it. And so, I started right away on 100%ing the game. Heading towards the Platinum Trophy, which gets you a fair bit of the way to 100% completion anyway. So, that was fine and dandy and all that. But I guess, okay, now I guess I gotta talk about how I actually feel about the game. I absolutely love this game to death. 100%. I love this game. I liked Fallen Order a whole lot too. I liked that game a lot, immensely. I had a massive love for it when it came out in 2019. I was a great time, and the PS5 remaster for it was really good too. I didn't beat that version of it yet, but I'm thinking about it, and I'm only thinking about it now because now, having played and beaten this game to completion, I don't really want to go back. I think that this game is such a massive improvement in every single way from the last game, except the obvious performance issues that everybody has been talking about. Now, for more context, by the way, I didn't give the full context yet. I'm probably going to trickle down context like as the video goes on. Because, this is all unorganized, but I tend to get all my thoughts out in one way or another. It takes a minute, but I can do that. I'm on a PlayStation 5, so I'm not on PC, like most of the awful performance issues are. They are still here, but I can also tell you why some of them are happening. And I feel as though, because they did delay this game by, I think, about a month, or a little over a month or so. I think 2 months would have been better. And all of these performance issues would have been fine. They probably would have been taken care of, at least most of them. Like when I do like my super fast travel thing, like what you might be seeing on the screen right now, trying to get from like one place to another using this, like this is actually faster than Neko. Things will start to load incorrectly, low res, and the game isn't really supposed to, it's not really expecting me to do that. And so, you know, there will be a lot of visual performance issues. Like I remember yesterday I saw Magna Guard's cape. It started blackening my screen because the cape model was flapping so fucking hard that it was spazzing out and looked like a bat out of hell, essentially. So, but aside from that, you see, I can forgive it personally because from my perspective on the PS5, it wasn't nearly as bad. So if anybody else is like more mad about the performance issues, it's probably because they are on PS. Like 100%, they have every right to feel that way. I simply don't from my perspective because it runs fairly decently above that on the PS5. In fact, it's not even that bad. It's still very playable. But you know, of course, it was $70. It does appear like they could have worked on it a little bit more. It does appear that way. And if you want to be mad at that, you are 100% in the right, and you can do that all you want. I'm not. I absolutely love this game. Now, I love not only is the combat greatly improved, I feel like Cal has greatly improved since the last game. Cal is actually awesome. In the last game was that he was inoffensive. The writers did not really take that many risks when writing him, as far as the last game goes. They didn't. And I heard, you know, I don't know how many times y'all heard this, but I heard stale Nathan Drake being thrown around out there. You know, stale Nathan Drake, and I didn't really agree with that. You know. Like, I can see the similarities as far as, like, climbing, but that's about it. You know, Cal has always been a lot more humble, but now he's becoming a bit more badass. Not, like, snarky. He's got his snarky moments, like when the moments call for it. He is a lot more badass in this game, and I gotta say, I like it. I like the direction that they're taking with Cal. He suffered a lot. Like, we see what he's gone through in the last game, but throughout the events of the story, like post Order 66, I don't really remember Cal like going through that much as far as the story goes. Like, we got a fake out death with Seer, but nothing really major happened as far as Fallen Order. It's just like, oh yeah, shit like that. We're looking for a holocron or whatever. He goes through some pretty intense stuff in this game. And, now I gotta say, whoever storyboarded this, like, the cutscenes, or wrote that shit, is an absolute fucking genius, if you ask me. 'Cause this game has this cutscene. Oh, by the way, I need to let y'all know this. I'm probably gonna spoil some stuff here and there. It's never too late for a good spoiler warning, but I haven't even talked about, like, the specific beats in the story that I was really impressed by. But yeah, I'm not really holding back on spoilers. You know, if you haven't beaten the game and you're watching a review for it that's gonna be like this long, rethink your life for a moment. Honestly, real shit. Anyway, the cutscene where you wake up the first primary antagonist, and I say first because obviously you get betrayed by Bode later, who became a fucking Jedi Sith, whatever the hell, double agent. That took me a second to adjust to, but I'll talk about that later. The cutscene where we wake up Dagan Gera is probably within my top 10 cutscenes in all of gaming. I think that was phenomenally executed. When he ignited the lightsaber and the choir hit you, holy shit. Like, I felt my whole fucking body was like pins and needles, rushing with adrenaline. That was incredible. I loved that scene so very much. And I think Dagan Gera was actually a pretty good antagonist, all things considered. I think he was very well written. He had a little bit of the same issue with Cal as the last game, like, you know, nothing too outlandish. You know, not many risks were taken, very inoffensive, but I think it was just fine. I think just because of fucking how cool he is, it doesn't matter. And the thing about Star Wars is, I'm not sure Star Wars is the type of verse that needs, like, the good writing, like the traditional good writing that, you know, film majors, you know, jack off to every night, and then they go write a paper about, you know. I don't think Star Wars needs that. I think Star Wars by itself has gotten by just on cool factor, and that's awesome. That's fine, you know? But when it has moments like that mixed in with just the general cool factors, I love that. I 100% love that. Now the goal of course, getting to Tanalorr was quite the journey. As a matter of, I did not expect this game to be nearly as long as it was, as far as the story goes. You know, some people, when I told people it was roughly a 20-ish hour story for the difficulty that I was on. I don't know about anybody else who's playing it. It was about 24-ish hours for me on the difficulty that I was playing it on. But it very well could be cut in half if you decide to do a lower difficulty setting. Hell, I remember one of my friends picked it up like about 3 days after I started playing it, and he nearly caught up to me the same day, and he was playing it on like Padawan, no, or Jedi Knight or something. I think the middle difficulty. So you very well could like spearhead the fucking game depending on the difficulty that you're on. So I don't know about the length. The length for me was appropriate for being on the hardest difficulty. The hardest difficulty itself is something. It's something. I haven't changed it, so I have not experienced everything the game has to offer as far as the technicals go, because I have not played it on any other difficulty besides Grandmaster. So the experience could very well be. It could have been extremely different for me depending on what difficulty I decided to play it on. But for all intents and purposes, I don't really know what else... Oh, we got an enemy right here. I didn't mean to walk into this enemy nest right here. But the difficulty could have very well changed the experience for me, but I guess we'll never know, because I didn't play it on anything else other than Grandmaster. Now, of course, I want to make this also known that the post-game content, like the content outside of the story, is actually really, really good. Now, I want to make this known as well, specifically, in my case, I don't do side quests. I don't really like doing additional content other than just the main story. Like one of my favorite game franchises, Xenoblade Chronicles. I do not do, like, I've never 100%ed any of those games, nor even come close. I simply tend to spearhead it, you know, get the appropriate levels I need to progress the story, and maybe once in a while, if I see something cool, I'll go ahead and check it out, right? Maybe. Which is why, like, I didn't really enjoy Breath of the Wild, or I'm gonna call that one Botwa. I didn't enjoy Botwa that much at first. I had to, like, replay it multiple times to gain a true appreciation, because at first, I really just don't care for going out of my way and doing additional content. However, this game, Pro Jedi, was such an exception off the bat. It was incredible. I am thoroughly 100% with every fiber of my being impressed with just how much side content has to offer and how cool and engaging it actually is. I am in love with it. Exploring Kobo and all of these other planets was amazing. Finding all the secrets, like, nothing was really a letdown, because, like, you know, in a game like Botwa, exploring will just bring you to a shrine, and that's it. If you want to explore, you better expect to simply be finding shrines, because you're not going to find hardly anything cool when exploring in Botwa. If you're exploring in this game, you know how many, like, there are so many well-hidden bosses and challenges, like these force tears that are similar to the realm tears from God of War. But they're actually, like, in my opinion, I want to let this know. In my opinion, they're actually good. Like, these force tears are really interesting. And some of them tie into the greatly upgraded parkour system, and some of them are just the most outrageously unfair boss fights that you will ever have to do, right? Like there was one of them. Oh man, this one was crazy. When you do a double spawn of Ogdo in the Ogdo Bogdo fight, that made me like turn the game off for a second. Like I was like, oh, what the fuck, right? And of course, like I beat that. It took me quite a while to do, but it's completely possible. And then you have those snobs like that fucking moron Critical who thinks he's like the only man to walk the fucking earth with a penis and has beaten that fucking boss duo. Like, no. But it was something to do, and I actually fucking loved it. Matter of fact, there was a double Rancor fight in one of them too, and I bet you that motherfucker hasn't done that either. You know? But, I digress, I used to actually really like that fucking guy, but, I think he's a fucking loser these days. He should go back to talking about the fucking time that, he pissed in a girl's mouth when receiving his first ever blowjob. That was funny. When he was playing the Five Nights at Freddy's back in the day, when that was a pretty interesting franchise. Now he just talks about stupid ass fucking shit. And I just feel like when it comes time for him to talk about fucking Pro Jedi, I feel like he just needs to shut the fuck up. This isn't his fucking franchise, he's a fucking loser. He shouldn't be talking about this shit. This fucking loser ass should just go play something like fucking League or something. He's a fucking idiot. He says his favorite genre is Souls games. Fuck you fucking loser. I don't know. I shouldn't even be talking about him. This isn't a review on him. I can do a rant on him later if I fucking want. Yeah. Anyways, I love Pro Jedi so fucking much. Like I say, in every conceivable way imaginable, I feel as though this was a great and vast improvement from Fallen Order. And Fallen Order, like I said, it was in my top 20. Fallen Order was such an amazing game to me, but I didn't think we were going to get a sequel from that. And I feel as though we're probably going to get a sequel from this then. Because this one has a lot more of an open ending than the last one did, in my opinion. Because the last one, I just thought, oh, he breaks the fucking holocron and that's it. I didn't think we were getting a sequel at all. But a game like this, not only could I think that there could be a sequel, I think we could get some DLC out of this. Like 100%, I think we could get some DLC from this. I was really impressed with the amount of, like I said, the amount of stuff that you could do. Like, matter of fact, had I not explored, I would never have found Boba fucking Fett. Boba Fett is in this game. Now, he's not like a boss fight or anything, which is fine. I wasn't really expecting to see him in the first place, so I wasn't expecting him to be a boss fight either. The fact that he just showed up at the end of the Bounty Hunter quest, which, by the way, fuck that quest. That shit took a lot out of me trying to figure that one out. But at the time of me recording this, I haven't checked for any guides, right? I didn't use any guides to 100% the game at all. I feel like the game gives you enough context, as is, for you to be able to find out how to 100% it. Just so far. I don't expect there to be that many guides anyway for some of the stuff that you have to do to 100% this game. Like, finding all 100 of the priorite shards was ridiculous. I fucking hated doing that. But I also loved it because I love playing the game. It was just if I was in Cal's shoes, I would not really personally go out of my way to do that. But like I said, I didn't want to leave anything unturned. And finding all the other things, like all the bounty pucks, was awesome. Filling up this garden was it was something to do, and so I did it. I didn't get a single reward out of it other than an achievement. But it looks pretty, I guess. And there's just stuff to do in this game for the fuck of it that I absolutely adore. I think that they deserve an absolute round of applause for just even doing that to begin with. I think that's amazing. Now, of course, that might be expected, but like take into consideration other games with some side content or like pretty streamlined fucking games like The Last of Us. They do not. The Last of Us Part 1 or 2 does not have nearly as much excuse me, as much side depth as this game has, on top of an already girthy, meaty, amazing fucking story. I don't even think I was finished talking about the story, by the way. My thoughts on the story overall, I guess if I'm going to give it overall thoughts on the story, is it was amazing. Like, the story was great. I think every beat was fine. I thought every time Dagon Gera was on screen was amazing. I think every boss fight that pertained to the story was awesome. It was just very cool. It was so cool. And even up to the point where Bode, out of absolutely fucking nowhere, like, decides to what did he fucking do? He betrays us, right? My brother, my 9-year-old brother, just started his playthrough the other day, and watching him play and watching Bode in the early game is crazy, because they really were dropping hints, and it went right over my head. It went all the way over my fucking head. I did not see that shit coming, but now looking back, it was so very obvious. Because, like, he was asking Cal about stuff that really, he wouldn't really know the depth of it unless he was getting intel from the Empire, which was just insane. But, such is the way of plot twist, sometimes all you got to do is just look back and realize, wow, how did I miss that? It's crazy. But I'm a big fan. I'm gonna start talking about a couple personal things too, by the way, because there's a lot for me to talk about in this game, but I don't want to, like, I don't know, I don't want to like info dump everything into just one fucking video. I want to leave some of it for, I don't know, maybe something written, like if I drop a review on Instagram stories or some shit, right? I played the game with, like I said, on Grandmaster, but for the most part, I was using the crossguard, right? And I'm about to start New Game Plus so I can get a red crossguard, and I'm just gonna play through the game again, like, just because I fucking can. But crossguard was my main choice as soon as I got it, which wasn't really that long into the game, surprisingly. But I did not use the fucking, I didn't use the gun mode, the blaster and saber mode, hardly ever. I used it, I can count on one hand how many times I used it, because I simply just don't care about it. But I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying I do not care for it, right? Actually, no, matter of fact, I think that, no, it was a couple notable times I used it, but you do have to use it a little bit for the achievement, and I fully upgraded and maxed out its skill tree and everything. And I tried it out, which I feel like it could be fun, but for me personally, I just didn't really see much an appeal to it for the way that I like to fight. Like, since this game is heavily inspired by the Souls genre, right? I'm a big Unga Bunga strength build fan in Souls games, right? I don't really do Dex that often. I did Dex a couple of times in From Soft History, but that was like, I did it once in Demon Souls, all the way back in 2009. That was probably my first instinct, was to do like a Dex build. And then I did it again in the remake, about 11 years later. I did a Dex build again, but I did multiple playthroughs of that. So my typical choice of weapon is the big sword. And this has that effect. It is my undisputed favorite stance out of the 5. Because in the last game, there was 2.5. You could only use the dual wielding in the last game, which I think was fucking stupid, when you are switching stances. I didn't like that at all. I thought that was stupid. Now you can just use it as freely as you want, and I was using that up until I got the crossguard. And the crossguard did not disappoint. I used this to completely finish out the game. Now, like I said in my Bloodborne DLC review, if this game has a sequel or a DLC, as far as a DLC goes, I do not want them to add any more saber stances, or at least any more ways to uh, approach combat. I don't want them to do that. The reason being, and of course, I don't really expect many people to agree with me. I mean, people would be like, "Why don't you want to see content in a DLC?" Right? That would probably be the question to ask. Is like, what the fuck's wrong with you, right? Okay, now hear me out. Because if I can already beat the game with my favorite saber style, by the way, ever since The Force Awakens came out, this has been my favorite type of lightsaber, right? I loved the Kylo Ren lightsaber, but I already know I can beat this already brutally challenging max difficulty with this stance alone, with just with its soul upgrades, right? If I can do it with that, I can do it again, right? I don't know if New Game Plus makes it harder or not. I have no idea at all. I think maybe it's just play it again with all of your abilities, you know, so you can like skip the Metroidvania elements of it or whatever. But I think as far as introducing new saber stances, I wouldn't want to see that. Because I'm not going to really go ahead and beat the game again with those. Unless of course, in the next game, if they add even more for whatever reason, I will. Of course, I'll gladly take it. I don't know what they could do. I really don't know what they could do. They could. I mean, for all we know, he could start dual wielding these things. You know. I don't know. I don't know if they would though. I can't really think of more stances to try here. But of course, you know. Then again, I didn't expect them for Cal to pull out the strap, which is what he kills the final boss with. That's what he kills Bode with, is the gun. So that was cool. But you know, they could surprise me with more saber stances in another game. But if they do a DLC, I don't want to see that. But that's just me. If they do have it, of course I'm gonna play them. Of course I'm gonna level them up. I'm just gonna see very little point to it. But, you know, of course it's all down to personal perception. That's just how I feel about it. Anybody else who feels different, 100%, all the power to you. Love you for it, you know? But yeah, that was what I chose to beat the game with, was the crossguard. And it works, right? It works. Now, it's a stance that you have to commit to. You really need to know what you're doing with this, because you switch from, because as far as the last game goes, everything is pretty fast paced, right? You know, you just keep tapping your attack button. I changed it to R1 for this game, because like, you know, if my block button is going to be L1, I'm going to do R1 for the attack. It's just like Sekiro, right? But you really need to know what you're doing, because you can't interrupt your attack with a guard. You have to commit. So you need to pick your attacks wisely with this. And I'm fine with that, because you have to do that with most strength build games. Shut the fuck up. You have to commit, just like in Dark Souls or Demon Souls, if you're using a big ol' strength weapon like the Dragon Bone Smasher, or say, you know, Smo's Hammer. You need to commit. So I totally understand that 100%, but it takes, you know, it is a change in pace. I just want to let that be known. It is a change in pace that I can personally get behind, but I don't expect everybody to be a fan of the crossguard. Mine is just how absolutely cool it is. By the way, customization in this game, that is the one thing I didn't even touch up on. I didn't have that much of an issue with customization in the last game. The saber customization was just fine, but man, they really took it to the next level in this game. Man, like I said, there's so much to talk about here. Customization is phenomenal. Like, really, really good in this game. I didn't like being able to customize Cal as much as we are able to. Is such a breath of fresh air. Like you can customize his beard, his hair, his fit, and the gun. And you've always been able to customize BD1, but you couldn't go as deep as you do now, right? You could only change like the overall color scheme of him. which I think was long overdue, and I love how my BD1 looks. He looks all Sith and edgy. I love how my lightsaber looks. It's all Sith and edgy. I love that. And I changed through my lightsaber colors quite a lot. I did pink. I've done white. I'm on orange right now, but as soon as I hit New Game Plus, it's going to be red, and it's going to stay that way. And as soon as I turn off this video, I'm going to start a New Game Plus, because I am all done with this exploration, and I just want to experience the story with a red saber. But say by the time maybe a DLC comes out and I have to re-download this game, I'm not gonna re-download it to beat the story again. I'm gonna re-download it for the DLC. Like Xenoblade just dropped a new DLC that I need to play. I'm so glad I've managed to avoid like all the fucking spoilers so far. I need to get on that because I've got a couple of the different friends actually that really want to discuss this shit with me because they know just how much I love the series. But I love Star Wars more than I love Xenoblade. I have historically loved Star Wars. I need a Star Wars tattoo because I have a Minato tattoo. But the reason I love Xenoblade is because of how much it reminds me of Star Wars. Specifically Xenoblade 1 and 3. I hate Xenoblade 2. But yeah, whatever. I'm not even supposed to be talking about that during a Pro Jedi review. Whatever. Like I said, I just turn the camera on and start speaking my mind. You know, but anyways, if I was to put a number on Pro Jedi, I don't really know if I could put a number on it, give it a numerical value on a scale of 1 to 10. Oh man, personally, as far as everything goes, it's about closest thing to a 10. A Star Wars game is done for me in a long time. So yeah, like 9.9 or 10 for personal enjoyment, you know. As far as I would weigh it with arguments and subjective relevance, I could probably argue it to a logical 9.9. As far as personal entertainment goes, this game is a 10 out of 10 for me. 100%. And, you know, if you don't agree with that, that is perfectly fine. I don't care. Power to you, though. Like, 100% power to you, though. If this isn't a 10 for you, that is cool. I love you anyway. You know, you have every right to believe that, but that is just me. You know? And, of course, I only really make these for people that ask for them, which there's a handful for them, you know, on Curbs Anime Battles, the Instagram page. A lot of people be asking me what I think about stuff that I really like, and they want to hear all my thoughts, and so I think it's nice for me to put them all out here in just one go. This has already been, I've already been talking for about over a half hour now. Wow, okay. But, yeah, I think maybe I'll stop it here. I think this is a good time to cut it. But, yeah, 9.9 if I was to argue it to anybody, but as far as personal enjoyment, this was a 10 out of fucking 10. And if they update it with the DLC, I'm gonna do the exact same thing with the DLC. I don't know if they will do that. They could very well not do that. The next thing I'm gonna be playing is the Xenoblade DLC. Oh, and then after that, I'm gonna play Totka. I don't know if I'm gonna review Totka though, because I don't know. It's we'll see. So you could keep a lookout for that. But yeah. Thank you, anybody who watched all of this 32 minutes of unscripted, unorganized mess. Or 33 now. It's about to be 34. Yeah, thank you to anybody who watched this. I greatly appreciate that. Sorry for talking your ear off. This might be a great video to watch if you are doing something else in the background. You know, if you're just on the job right now, pop a headphone in and just listen to this. Hell yeah. It's your choice. Doesn't matter to me. You could have gave up watching it a long time ago. But for the very few that may have made it this far, thank you. That's it. I think I'm going to cut the video here. Yeah, see y'all in whatever next video I decide to do. Alright. Adios.